Today we are going to discuss the second part of consumer behavior in your microeconomics, that is demand. Under the demand topic, we are going to learn the following topics. That is, what is market demand, demand determinants of demand, demand schedules, demand curve and its slopes, movement along and shift in the demand curve, price elasticity of demand, factors affecting price elasticity of demand, measurement of price elasticity of demand, that is a percentage method and geometric method. The last one is relationship between price elasticity and total expenditure. First, we starting with the demand. What is demand? We all are doing these things for demanding goods and services. Demand means it refers to the consumer desire to purchase goods and services and willingness to pay a price for the specific product. Here, if a thing considered as a demand, here two things are to be satisfied. If a person want to buy a goods, for example milk, first condition is he should have desire to purchase that particular product. The second one is he should willingness to pay a specific price for this product. If the two conditions are satisfied, it will consider as effective demand. In other case, if a person have a desire to purchase the same milk, but he cannot pay a price for it, it will not consider as a effective demand. So, we can say that the demand means wants or needs mainly supported by the ability to pay, namely budget derived from the disposable income. So here we're going to discuss what are the determinants of quantity demand. There are number of factors which determine the quantity demand. Here we are going to discuss some of the factors which mainly determine the quantity demanded. The most important one is price of the commodity. That we denoted the alphabet P, that means the price. Every person should consider what is the price of a commodity before buying a goods. The other determinants are the income of the consumer, that we denoted by the letter I, that means income. The income of the consumer are the another important factor which determine the quantity demand. The third factor is price of related commodities. That means the PR. The price of related commodity here we consider the two types. One is complementary goods and substitute goods. The complementary goods means are the goods that could be consumed together. For example, the car and petrol. The both things are consumed together. The other example is bread and butter. In most frequently it will use together, so it will consider as a complementary goods. The other example is cup and saucer. It will together, it will use together. And other example is printer and paper. So we can conclude that the both goods are using together. The substitute goods means it refers to those goods that can be consumed in place of each other. For example, tea and coffee. So we can use tea or coffee instead of each other. If sometimes the tea are not available in the market, we can substitute with the coffee to the tea. So it is the substitute goods. So price of related commodity means there are two types of related commodities. One is complementary goods, other one is substitute goods. The other factor which determine the quantity demand are taste and preferences that be denoted by the letter T. And the other determinants are advertisement expenditure. Advertisement expenditure nowadays it is a very important determinant of quantity demand. Every consumer should consider the advertisement that are produced by the producer of good. The last one is expectation regarding the price and availability of goods. That we denoted the letter E. So if for example there is onion, if the price of onion are going to increases nearby days, the consumer will buy more of the onion. Or other example, if we feel that the onion availability of onion are going to be less in the coming days, now the demand for onion may be rise. So expectation are the another important determinants of quantity demand. So here we conclude that there are number of factors which determine the quantity demand. Some of the factors that are we here explain. One is price that denoted by P, income that denoted by I, the price of related commodity that denoted by PR, tastes and preferences, advertisement expenditure, expectations. So in a mathematical form, we can write the functions of quantity demand. If we explain a quantity demand with the functions of what are the determinants of quantity demand, it is called the functional relationship between the quantity demand. So we can say that the quantity demand is the function of price, income of the consumer, price of related commodities, taste and preferences of the consumer, advertisement expenditure of the producer, expectation regarding the price, etc., etc., etc. Next one is law of demand. The law of demand explains the relationship between quantity demand and price. Here we consider quantity demand is a function of the price. So it's just saying the relationship between quantity demand and the price. So the law of demand says that there is an inverse relationship between the price and the quantity demand. When the price of the commodity increases, the quantity demand of the commodity will fall, vice versa. For example, here we are showing the price of the commodity increases. If the price of the commodity increases, the quantity demand will be decreases. Again, the price of the commodity increases, again the quantity demand will decreases. If the price of the commodity increases, quantity demand will decreases. It says the law of demand. That means when the price increases, quantity demand decreases. On the other hand, when the price of the commodity decreases, the quantity demand will increases. The first time the triple T have the three quantity demand, again the price getting down, the quantity demand of the ripple V increases. Again the price of the commodity decreases, the quantity demand will increases. This is called the law of demand. So the law of demand is the rule of thumb. To explain, there is an inverse relationship between the price and the quantity demand of a commodity. So when the price of a commodity decreases, the demand for the commodity increases. On the other hand, when the price of the commodity increases, quantity demand will be decreases. Derivation of demand curve from the indifference curve and the budget line. We already learned what is the indifference curve and the budget line. The budget line is based on the equation price of x multiplied by the quantity of x plus price of y multiplied by the quantity y is equal to consumer's income. It shows the budget line shows the quantity that can a consumer buy using his or incomes. The budget line, it is we call BL1 is the budget line of the consumer. And it is the indifference curve of the consumer. Here it's the equilibrium of the consumer which shows E1 is here the slope of the budget line is equal to slope of the indifference curve. From here, in a x-axis shows the good of x and the y-axis shows the goods of y. So in this equilibrium point, we can easily find the price of good x and price of the good y. Here we are going to draw the demand curve of the good x. So here we can see that the price of x and the corresponding quantity of good x. So here the price of x we will get and the corresponding quantity will be get. Under this line shows the demand curve. Here we can see what are the price of x and if we will get here we will get the corresponding quantity demand. Again the price of the commodity decreases, it will shift the budget line of the consumer to BL2. Here again we will get the price of 2, the second price and the corresponding quantity demand at that price. That can show in the second graph. This is the price 2, this is at the corresponding quantity demand. Again the price of commodity decreases, they will shift to the rightward and here the new level of equilibrium point we can find the price, another price level and the corresponding quantity demand. If we draw the connecting the three dots, we will get the demand curve. Demand schedule and demand curve. Demand schedule means individual demand schedule refers to the tabular statement showing various quantities of a commodity that a consumer is willing to buy at various level of price during a given period of time. That means it is showing the tabular statement of a quantity demand at various prices. Here we are showing the table, the price, and other side showing the quantity demand. This is the price of a commodity is 10 and it's showing at the price of 10 the corresponding quantity demand. If the price getting down from 10 to 8, the corresponding demand become increase 3 to 6 because of the law of demand. Then again price are 6, the corresponding demand is 9. If the price are now 4, the corresponding quantity demand become 12. If the price have become 2, the corresponding quantity demand became 15. So we can say a demand schedule is a table showing how much of a good or services consumers will want to buy at a different prices. Demand curve. A graph of the relationship between the price of goods and the quantity demanded. A demand curve is the graphical representation of the demand schedule. It shows the relationship between quantity demand and the price. So based on the demand schedule, we can draw a graph. So this graph is called demand curve. So here we showing x-axis and y-axis. In x-axis, in y-axis we show the price and x-axis we show the quantity demand. So here in the y-axis we starting to at the bottom to the 10. Here we are going to show the various quantity demand at the corresponding price level. So at the price is 10, the quantity demand at the price of 10 was 3. If the price is 8, the quantity demand as 6. At the price is 6, the quantity demand is 9. When the price are 4, the quantity demand is 12. When the price is 2, the quantity demand are 15. So if you connect the lines, we will get the the demand curve. That means here we showing the price is 10, the quantity demand is 3. The next point it's showing price is 8 and the quantity demand are 6. The next point is showing price is 6, the quantity demand is 9. Its next step is showing the price is 4, the quantity demand is 12, so on. If we connect the dots, we will get the demand curve. So it's called demand curve. So next thing is what is inferior goods. An inferior goods is a type of good whose demand declines when income rises. In other words, demand of inferior goods is inversely related to the income of the consumer. The inferior good means when the consumer's income rises, the quantity demand of particular goods is down. It is called inferior goods. So its income effect is negative. When income rises, the quantity demand will be decreases. For example, if a person normally travel depends upon the public transport. If his income rises, he will use a car to travel. So the demand for the bus is getting down is called the inferior goods. So we can see many other examples in the markets. It depends upon the consumers and the place. Other goods is given goods. The given goods are those goods in case of which the demand is false with a fall in their price and vice versa. When the price of the commodity decreases, quantity demand also decreases. It is against the law of demand. Income effect. A fall in the price of a commodity leads to an increase in the purchasing power of a consumer. Increasing real income enables the consumers to demand more of the commodity. What is income effect is means when the price of a commodity it leads to purchasing power of the consumer increases. That means consumer feels he became a rich. So it will lead to increase the demand. For example, when the price of commodity decreases, it leads to purchasing power of the consumer increases. That means increasing the real income. The consumer feels is the richer now. So it leads to demand more. It called income effect. Other one is substitution effect. When the price of commodity falls, it became relatively cheaper than other commodities. The consumers substitute the commodity whose price has fallen for other commodities which become relatively dearer. If there are substitute goods, for example, tea and coffee, when the price of tea decreases, it means comparing to coffee, the price is very less. So consumer will buy more of the tea. It is called a substitution effect. Market demand. Market demand is the amount of good that all buyers are willing and able to purchase in a market at various prices. Market demand schedule means it is like an individual demand schedule. A market demand schedule is a table showing how much of a good or services all consumers in a market want to buy at a different prices. A market demand schedule refers to the tabular statement showing various quantities of commodity that all consumer in a given market is willing and able to buy at various level of price during a specific period of time. So here we can draw a market demand curve and with using market demand schedules. So here the quantity demand is showing at various prices. In a market there are three peoples. Here we are going to show the various price level and the corresponding quantities of each and every individuals in the market. For example, imagine that there is only three people in the market. At price of 10, the first person will consume three quantities of a commodity, the second person purchase four quantities of commodity, and third person is 5. If the price is 8, the first person will consume 6 quantities of particular commodity and second person is 8 and third person is 10. If it is 6, the first person consumes 9 quantities of that particular commodity, the second person is 12 quantities of that particular commodity, and third person is 15. So what is if the price is 4, the person will consume 12, 16 and 20. If it is 2, the first person consumes 15 quantities of commodity and second person is 20 quantities and third person is 25. So here we can calculate the market demand schedule of this particular commodity by adding or summing all the individual demand at various prices. So at the price of 10, we can calculate the market demand is 3 plus 4 plus 5 is equal to 12. At the price of 8, market demand can calculate 6 plus 8 plus 10 is equal to 24. At price of 6, the market demand is 9 plus 12 plus 15 plus is equal to 36. So at 4, we can calculate like this, it is 48. At price is 2, the 15 plus 20 plus 25 is equal to 60. So it is the market demand schedule. Based on the market demand schedule, we can draw a market demand curve. Before we going to draw the market demand curve, we can draw the individual demand curves. Here we are drawing the first person individual demand curve at various price level. Second person demand curve is like this. The third person demand curve is so here we noted that we can draw market demand curve using two methods. One is if simply add the individual demand schedules, then we will draw market demand curve. And also it is the horizontal summation of individual demand curve. So here we are going to draw using the market demand schedule method. Here we are going to see that at the various price level corresponding market demand schedule. We can draw using a market demand schedule using market demand curve using these market demand schedules. So in the y-axis we showing the market demand prices and x-axis showing various demand quantity demanded. So at the price is 10, the market demand is 12. At the price of 8, market demand is 24. At the market price is 6, the demand is 36. If it is 4, market demand is 48. If it's 2, market demand is 16. If it's continued row, we will get the market demand curve. Changes in demand. The changes in demand is two types. One is changes in quantity demand and changes in demand. Changes in demand occurs Changes in quantity demand occurs because of the change in price. Changes in demand occurs because of the other than the price other factors. Changes in price effect can say that it is extension and contraction of demand. Changes in quantity, changes in demand that occur other than the price, its effect will be increase in or decrease in demand. How to measure these changes means if it is changes in demand, its movement along the demand curve, we can show it's the same demand curve, and other one it is shifting demands. So we can explain it is extension and the contraction of demand. Extension and contraction demand are used when the quantity demand rises or falls as a result of change in price and we move along a given demand curve. Changes in demand curve leads to demand increase or decrease, rises or falls. So extension means when the quantity demand of a good rises due to the fall in price, it is called extension of demand. If the price down, quantity demand is rises, it is called extension that we can show along the demand curve. Contraction means when the quantity demand falls due to the rising price, it is called contraction of demand. That prices rises, quantity demand falls. Extension of demand. The extension of demand curve means when the price of a commodity decreases, the demand will be increases. It is the change in quantity demand. For example, if a price of a commodity is 10, the quantity demand as 3. When it get down, it became 8. Now the quantity demand increases from 3 to 6. It is called extension of demand. That can be shown by the graph here. The price is showing the y-axis and the quantity is showing in the x-axis. Here the demand curve. At the first time, the quantity is 3 and the price is 10. So here the price is getting down from 10 to 8. Now the quantity demand increases 3 to 6. So here we can see that the price increases, quantity demand increases. Here it shows extension of demand curve. Other one is contraction of demand. That means when the price of the commodity is 8, now the quantity demand is 6. It's increases from 8 to 10. The quantity demand now decreases from 6 to 3. So we can say the contraction of demand curve means when the price of a commodity increases, the quantity demand will be decreases. It is the change in quantity demand. So here at the price is 8, the quantity was 6. So the price rises from 8 to 10. Now the quantity demand decreases from 6 to 3. So here it shows contraction of demand. Changes in demand, that means increasing or decreasing demand. It's showing like a shifting demand curve. When the demand of commodity changes due to changing in factors other than the own price of the commodity, it is known as the change in demand. It is expressed as shift in the demand curve. Changes in demands occurs in many reasons other than the price. One is income of the consumer, change in the income of the consumer, price of related commodities, taste and preferences, population changes, expectation. These all factors lead to changes in demand because it is other than the price. Here one example that is a shift in demand curve refers to the effect of a changes in factor other than the price of demand. When the price of when income of the consumer increases. That means here we show when income increases, the quantity demand of the consumer increases. So here shift in the demand curve. That means he can buy more of quantity using the same price level. On the other hand, if the income of the consumer decreases, the shifting demand curve to downward. At the same price level, he only buy less of that goods. So other example of price of related commodities. If the price of related commodities changes, the quantity demand will be shift. Price of related commodities increases, it will lead to increase in quantity demand. That means shift the demand curve upward. On the other hand, if the price of related commodities decreases, it downward. Price elasticity, that means elasticity.